What's poppin'? What's crack-a-lack? Yo, what's up? Okay, is that enough greetings? Hello. I'm just so excited to see you. Or, well, I guess, I can't see you. You can only see my video game, but you can hear me, so that's what counts. We're gonna do this one, and I'm doing Poppable. Um, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna make it the whole way through. Maybe. I'm just gonna be talking. If you want to listen to somebody talk about some things, I don't even know what I'm gonna title this video. So, whatever it says, whatever you clicked on this video for, however you even found this video, because right now, like, I don't even know if I'm even allowed to say this. YouTube might, have some bots looking for anybody that's speaking the truth and taking down their videos. I doubt that. That's such a conspiracy theory. But the truth is that the YouTube algorithm is not what it used to be. And that's not to say, like, it was so good back then. I'm trying to say that look at the state of it now. All you get is the same stuff over and over and over. So if anybody's watching this video, how? I'm surprised. Not really. I get it kind of. It will, like, like nowadays it forcefully recommends. It, like, guarantees you get a certain amount of views. But I think, like, how it was back in the day, was like it would give you like a certain amount of recommendations to people, and if your title was good, your video was you know looking like click worthy. That's why there's so much clickbait, right? People would click on it. You'd get some stats because of that. You'd get more recommendations, and what ties into that is the watch duration, how long they watch the video is very important, and that gave the ability for creators to, uh, actually be creators. Like, you don't see as many popular creators becoming popular nowadays. It's, in my opinion, like there's almost this illusion that, well, there's so many now. Like, yeah, anybody can do it. Like, anybody can become famous. Anybody could be a streamer. Like, it's like this, uh, and everybody kind of had the idea that that's how it was gonna. Okay, listen. Let me regroup my thoughts and try to communicate what I really mean here. So I just kind of. All right, what I'm trying to say is that back in the day, I feel like people were like, "Oh no, there's already however many people that are famous, or I'll never be famous, or it takes so much talent or creativity or whatever to be famous, but like or popular or whatever." Somewhere along the line, where there was a bunch of people becoming very popular and successful and famous, um, people started to think, oh yeah, anybody can. Like I could. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of videos about people saying, I mean, obviously there's like the advice on how to be a content creator, this and that type of videos, but I'm sure there's a bunch of videos of people saying, I saw a few, I mean, I scroll on TikTok, um, of people saying, oh, if you're not posting, what are you doing? Because like anybody could be famous. Like I saw some people using that one girl. Oh shoot, I need some. Hold on, let me slow this down. I need a ninja. Well, no, I don't need a ninja. Well, I don't. I can't afford a radar scanner, so I do need a ninja. I think I'm leaking. Oh no, I'm not. We're good. We're good. Go. Activate. We only have one life, so we can't be leaking. So we die. Alright. Back to what I was saying about the famous people and stuff. So basically, like, yeah, a bunch, like, not too long ago, what was it, like 2020 to 2022, maybe 2023-ish? There was a bunch of people, especially on like TikTok, just blowing up. But like, here's how it is right now. If you look on TikTok, if you look on YouTube Shorts, like the algorithms, they don't recommend you like nothing good. I mean, TikTok, in my opinion, it's still not terrible. In general, it'll give you, I mean, like the quality of videos being posted on there isn't great, but in general, it does kind of do what you want it to do, I guess, in that sort of sense. Like, if you know what I'm trying to say, there's a lot going into it, but I think most people who are familiar with it, who have been using that for a certain amount of time, can kind of get the idea of like what's going on. Like, okay, I watched this video, I liked it, or this one, and they're all right with it to an extent. I think, maybe some people don't like it, some people do like it. I don't know. Maybe some people are all right with it. I think most people are all right with it. My point is, let me get this helicopter. I haven't spent no money in a minute here. My point is, TikTok algorithm is terrible, but you don't see anybody blowing up on TikTok either. I followed a couple, okay, I used to be like really on point with what's trending, not like following the trends, like oh like I want to be popular or something. Like I did post on TikTok for a little bit. And I'm posting this video on YouTube now. Oh shoot, that didn't happen, guys. So anyways, um, yeah, so I did post on TikTok for a little bit, just like me, like trying to be goofy or whatever. And so I can say from experience, like back when TikTok first came out, and like I think it was around 2020, 2021. I was really posting, maybe some 2022 in there. I don't know exactly, but um, I don't even know. I couldn't tell you the exact dates. It was like 2022. I deleted all the videos, I think, but I amassed a whopping 15,000 followers. Not that many, honestly, especially for like TikTok, 'cause it's like Instagram a little bit, like you see on Instagram. And I don't use Instagram, not anymore. I used to a little bit, but then I don't know. I don't talk to really anybody. Mr. Loner over here, I guess, but I have a couple buddies, Rarely talk to them really. I'm not trying to, make a thing out of that. I don't care. I'm just saying how it is over here. But um, what was I saying? I forget what I'm saying a lot. It is what it is. I'm gonna remember now. Famous people. Oh yeah, I was posting on TikTok and 15,000. Oh yeah, because back when I used to use Instagram, like people would like mass follow a bunch of people and then unfollow. And out of a bunch of people, some of them are like, "Oh, somebody followed me, I'll follow them back." And then when they unfollow them back, it's like they still have that follower, so then they just do that to get a bunch of followers. And after a little bit, Instagram was like, "Hold on, let's limit how many people you can add at one time." And then they kind of nerfed the strap, but people still do it. You just gotta like only follow a certain amount of people at a time, and then wait till it resets or something. Um, how do I know so much about this? It's just I know a lot of stuff. Okay, it's just it is what it is. My point is, it's like that on TikTok too. Honestly, it's not like super deep info. I don't know why I said that. I just imagine somebody maybe thinking like, okay, how do you know so much about this? Like, you must want to do this. You must try to become popular by following everybody. Nah, I mean, yes, when I first got Instagram, I'm like, yeah, I want a lot of numbers on my follower account. And so that's what I did. I'll admit it, guys. No shame, though. No shame. It was cool because then some people actually like commented and liked on the post. Not too many of them, a lot less than it would have been if I had like filled it up with family and friends, which I did that too, but not as much. Um, I posted whatever I want. I've always been Mr. Guy, dude. Mr. Do whatever. Okay, this is a problem until we solve it. Go, spiky balls. Go, spiky balls. Wait, hot spikes. Okay, that should be good. Okay, it's not good. We're dead. Unless it goes back around like again. Oh yeah, it did. Alright, we're chilling. So anyways, yeah, I've always been Mr. Guy, dude. Why I say that? Because it's like I just do what I want to do. Like, you know, I think there's a lot of talk about spirituality. Okay, before I get in this enlightenment, spirituality, transcendence, but it's really not what you think because eat, sleep, and chop wood. If you know what I'm saying, that's like what the Buddhists say is the fucking daily activities. Ooh, I did not just say. Okay, I did just say a bad word. Okay, that's okay. It's fine. Maybe YouTube will be like, oh my gosh. But you know what? I don't care. No, I don't care. People swear all the time. Let's get round 63, round 64. We're doing good. We got lots of bananas. Let's keep talking about what we were talking about, if I can remember. Before I talk about spirituality, finish up okay, I was talking about, dude, I got on such a tangent. Whatever. Maybe somebody's like, yo, listen to this guy talk right now. He's talking about some things and he's talking pretty fast about some things. Not really. That's pretty slow, actually. I can talk a little faster than that. Are you ready? I'm about to talk with the faster, talking in the whole entire word. I'm just kidding, guys. Just because you sound less intelligible and it sounds rushed out of your mouth does not mean you're talking faster. But there has been maybe a few moments when my articulation has come across as sharp, quick-witted, and to the point. But then at other times, when like, hold on, what did I say? And you're like, what is this guy talking about? But like I said, I'm Mr. Guy Dude. I've always been that guy dude that I am, and so have you. And so I don't know. Something I've been thinking about recently is like continuity within oneself. Really knowing oneself. You know what I'm saying? Just trying not to get too overly concerned about anything that doesn't matter. Overthinking, all that jazz. Anyways, it's easy to think a lot. You got a brain. You can use it if you want, but you could also use your body and kind of just exist. You know, say, hold on, brain. You're thinking a lot of things. So hold on, like you kind of maybe have to like come to peace with whatever you're thinking about. So you gotta rewrite the story a little bit. You gotta be like, all right, listen, I was thinking this, but like, really, if I'm thinking about it this way, let me give you an example. Something happened that you do not want to happen. It's like, man, but it's like, you know, it's unavoidable. It's not like you. I'm not trying to say, oh, let me make a good thing out of it. I'm trying to say, it's like, okay, yes, that happened, but like rather than get down about it in any sort of way, let it, crush your spirits at all. Just be like, all right, you know, even if you had your hopes up, be like, I am the person. Tell yourself this or don't, but just like kind of the concept of like, all right, well, I am the person. I was that excited, yeah. Didn't work out. I'm still the person that gets to do whatever I want, whatever else in my life that pertains to me as an individual and my living. What I mean by that is like, you think about the good and the bad. Just be like, it is what it is, especially in those circumstances. Right? And I think it's important to do that pretty regularly with yourself. Hold on, let me focus on getting more bananas. I don't even know how I sold one of them. But what I'm saying is, yeah, you want to have a nice, good life. You want to be like, woo! Maybe not. Okay, maybe, nobody necessarily objectively wants this or that or the other or anything, right? Um, so I'm not speaking for everybody here when I say, oh, you definitely want, but I think in general, right? The idea of the concept of, hey, maybe excited for life, that's pretty cool. A lot of people, under certain perspectives, it's cool. A lot of people might say, hey, like I want to be excited for my life, or I want to, my overall perspective towards life, I want to think it's a good thing that's happening to me, or a good thing that I'm doing. I'm participating in it, I'm existing, right? It's just like good that I'm existing. That's what people want to think. They want to think. But hold on, you were born. You didn't ask for it. I mean, yeah, some people like genuinely. I don't know. I haven't met anybody necessarily that's like, oh, my whole entire life, la la la. I never wanted to exist. I'm like, ever since I was born, I was just like, psh. But I don't think that's how it works. I think because everything happens for a reason. So we're here for a reason, and especially as kids, like kids, pretty, they might cry about something, but they get over things pretty quick. They're pretty easy to, be joyful, be happy. I mean, they're pure-hearted, and that's how we naturally are as humans, right? So, I mean, when people talk about getting in touch with your inner child and this and that, point is to let yourself be yourself. That's a tough thing to do. There's a lot of factors that go into that. It's like not something that you sit down and figure out. You're like, okay, this is how I'm gonna be. No. You don't sit down and figure out who you want to be. You be who you want to be, right? You only figure out who you are through the circumstances that you experience in the first place. So yeah, you can sit down and think about what happened to you in your life, what that means to you, and where you should go, um, with that, and with that, and how you feel about that, and all these things. Who you think you are, right? But it's not to get caught up in that. Like you're never gonna figure it all out. All these philosophers, sitting down trying to figure it all out for ages. Whatever the scientists, we're into the quantum mechanics and all that now. It's exciting stuff. Um, there's a Michael Levin. I like that guy. Shout out that guy. Random shout out. He's some scientist guy. He does some research. Point is that I should probably stop investing in banana farms and get some more. I like this one. Let me get the. I think you can already see camo, so maybe that doesn't matter. But knowing yourself, la la la. Let me get. And what was I saying? So, anyways, guys, like just knowing yourself. Okay, some people, because it's like we exist, we don't know why we're just put here one day. It's like, well, so not even necessarily. Maybe it's all according to plan, but we just like kind of forgot about it. But like instinctually, kind of know what's going on. Like deep down, I think that might be how it goes, guys. Because I feel like I was saying something important and I totally distracted myself. But whatever, dude. It's gotta be you. Experience the moment. You can think. Oh, what I was talking about is like, sitting down thinking about what happened to you in your life and what you want to do with that. And yeah, you can. Oh yeah, the philosophers who have sat down. Oh, oh, you know what? Fine, fine. Glaive Lord. Let me get the. If I can fit this guy. The village. Let me just get rid of this. It's all good. I ain't worried about the monkey money. I got all the heroes I want. I don't really buy anything with it. So. Yeah, I knew I should have invested in some other stuff sooner, and there's going to be a lot more. Um, right, so the philosophers who have sat down and tried to figure it all out, did they succeed? Oh yeah, and then the scientists, right, the quantum mechanics that we're on now. Um, well, like if you don't know about that, the basics is like they were like, oh, it's atoms, oh, it's protons and electrons, it's this and that, and then like they zoom in even further. I mean, I think it was figured out with like equations first, and then we got the technology to like we witnessed these particles, the light particles act as a wave and a photon and a particle. It's like this. Okay, I'm not going to get into all the details. The point is that basically the structural makeup of reality is probabilistic, is what the science says according to quantum mechanics. So what this means is that if a tree fell in the woods and no one was around to hear it, would it really make a sound? And what that means is that basically things. I watch pot never boils, Like things are more likely to happen if you expect them to happen, right? There's like the Schrodinger's cat, but it's basically that, like, until a phenomenon, until, a situation, until anything is perceived, or what do I mean by this word, like witness? I think you know what I mean. Until, like, it is witnessed, it is in this state of flux. Not always necessarily. Like, a tree is gonna be treeing whether you look at it or not. I mean, for all we know, it could turn into the boogeyman when we stop looking at it. So maybe I shouldn't even say that. We don't know. But the point is, watch tree, never boogeyman. Um, and so the point is, guys, I have a lot of points in this video, and it's looking like, oh, we're good, we're good, we're good. I thought we were about to lose. Point is, do I just like saying that? The point is, no, I don't like anything necessarily because it is what it is. But but is that to say like I'm letting life happen to me if I'm like it is what it is? Maybe I should say, well, it's what I want it to be. Yeah, this is everything I might have forgot. I might have said, yeah, let me have this human experience and forget myself as a fractal of the infinite. But like, oh, Uber, um, I guess all according to plan, actually. Right? So I'm not, by surrendering to reality, I'm not surrendering to reality, but by letting things happen. It's still a participatory thing. What am I surrendering to? Right? But it's like by letting things happen, by being myself, by just letting myself be myself. I figured, okay, I know kind of how I want to conduct myself under the context of, what happened to me in my life and how I feel about it, right? So it's like I'm gonna go out into life because you can't just sit there forever. Like I was saying, never, you're not just gonna sit there and figure it out. These philosophers have tried. Um, so it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out and maybe sit down too, and do it wherever you are, and just let life happen. And then figure how I feel about that. When that happens, and hopefully it just gets better and better, and maybe well, it is what it is. It's not better and better. It's more and more extreme. Like it's extreme's not even the word. Extravagant, extraordinary. Like a roller coaster that goes up and then goes down and then goes up even farther and goes down even farther and it just keeps going up and down even farther and farther. When you think about like the duality of good and bad, but good and bad doesn't exist, guys. Like I said, it is what it is. We're about to lose. It is what it is, right? But I'm gonna wrap up this video by saying, good and bad doesn't exist. It is what it is. Uh, so kind of you're just here experiencing life, and you can feel the way you want to feel about it. But it's almost creepy because the thing is, whatever you do, whatever you're gonna do, whatever you end up doing, yeah, you feel like it's your choice. It might be your choice. Yeah, it's you. Yeah, you're doing it right now. You're the one that's doing it. But if you trace everything back far enough, it's all just a product of something that happened to you that made you who you are. But at the same time, it's almost paradoxical. It's a weird thing. Because it's like when you are fully, because people get so caught up. Okay, maybe I don't want to wrap up this video. I just want to keep talking. Let me get a different map. Maybe more of that. People get so caught up thinking, I'm somebody, I'm this person experiencing this, or it's like I feel this type of way about this. You know what I mean? But if you just exist for a second, it might even be scary to you to just exist, let myself exist. But like, you might sit and be like, okay, hold on. Especially if you're like, it is what it is. Cause like, I was saying about the roller coaster and the duality of things, and hopefully, when I said hopefully it gets better, but what I really meant was that hopefully the roller coaster goes up and down even farther and faster, and whatever. not only, I think there's more details than that. It's not that you just want a more potent experience. And that's it. There's a lot of factors that go into this existence thing. Um, but as far as what I would do in an experience, what I'm saying, I have a pretty good idea of who I am, where I am in my life, how I feel about it, and what I want to do about it, right? And so then it's kind of like I'll just, whatever happens, see how I feel about that. And, I can decide how I want to feel about it. Regardless, like a kid, yeah, might, get my hopes up for something. Oh, it doesn't happen, and I cry like a kid. So then the kid, goes and has ice cream later or something, and he's happy about that, and he doesn't care. He goes to sleep, wakes up the next day. Oh, my favorite show was on the TV, and then goes to school, and it's like, oh, my buddies and this and that, and then he never thinks about that thing ever again, right? As long as it didn't like deeply affect, right? It's not something that like made him like really think, oh, well, I'm this person and I can't experience that thing. That maybe he just felt simply, oh, that thing didn't work out. How sad. Cried about it for a second, and it's like, well, I'm still me, still in my life. You know what I mean? And then things can get very extreme. You can have the love of your life and lose the love of your life. Whatever it is. R.I.P. to the love of my life, who may or may not be alive. I don't know. Why did I say that? Because love never dies. I don't. Okay, listen. I'm getting goofy. Let me be serious. But is life so serious? Do you gotta take it seriously? Or you gotta be goofy about it, or is there something you gotta do to do whatever you want to do? Like the kid, that's why the kids are so goofy. The kids just always want to express themselves. That's why creativity is so important. So let me branch this into what's life all about? I'm not claiming to know the answer here, but let me give a little idea of mine as to at least the general population, where we're headed, and what's going on here. Um, well, we have this capacity, immense capacity. This is all, TV shows, entertainment, video games, that get, so complex. Some people, play such complex games I could never, because it's like, why would I rack my brain like that? And I could understand the enjoyment they might get out of it. But for me personally, chop wood, eat, sleep, poop, right, is what it is. And I like, maybe in my own ways, I like complexity, but I like to be able to collapse it into simplicity, right? And all of the different variations and the variables and like different practical possibilities that go into the complexity, collapsing it into the simplicity of it is what it is. Not that mantra necessarily, but kind of the concept of okay, well, all these things, I might have felt all these types of ways about it, but at the end of the day, I'm me. I'm coming home to me. I'm gonna be in my bed as me. So how do I want to feel about it then? Right? So it's like if you really let something get to you, um, you might end up, saying, "Dang, I shouldn't have cared so much." But so that's my point about like the kid crying and then getting over it, like it's not affecting them too deeply, and how we should be like that for the most part, and kind of just get to know yourself and just exist and not take things so seriously necessarily. And oh, what I think about is going on in life in the general population of okay, we have this immense capacity for I didn't even say what it was, but I was talking about entertainment and media because of our intellect, of our and well, yeah, I guess I hinted at it by saying like the complex games and this and that. But because of our our capacity for not just intelligence but creativity, creative expression, all these aesthetically inclined desires. And I'm not just talking about attraction and beauty. I'm talking, art obviously, but musically aesthetic. Things are pleasing to the ear. Certain things are pleasing to the tongue. I very much like sweets. Um, you know, like there's a lot of things in life to be expressed, right? And so when life seems to be set up in this way, there's all these countries, there's all these things going on. I live in America. What's going on in America seems to be a progressive, this has been no secret of the progressive, capitalism, the way it's going, like the progressive, rich get richer, poor get poorer, generally speaking, middle classes, kind of decreasing. And that's statistically proven. So, let me get some, defense for this, or I'm gonna lose or not. I really don't care. But, oh, we survived. Cool. This is what it is, the cool or hot temperature, who knows? But, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, yeah. Global, America. La la la. What's going on, guys? So basically, so we have artificial intelligence, all these facets for, expressing ourselves and, you know, understanding each other. You see somebody else express themselves, you can, understand them better when they're expressing themselves. I mean, that's kind of how it works, especially if it's an authentic expression of themselves, um, which nowadays is becoming more and more rare. And I think it might lose here some because people don't want to be themselves because they don't even know who they are because they're getting caught up in these things, thinking, oh, I gotta think this way, act this way, be this way, think, this person I'll lose. You might lose if you think all these things, dude. You just gotta live, man. You just gotta keep living. Somebody said that. Has some relevance, has some truth to it. But not to the extent that you just got to. You don't just got to do anything. I mean, to the extent that we're put here, we're already here. We're existing. Okay, and then, I'm not talking about, um, the potential possibility of no longer existing. We're not talking about that because, quite frankly, I'm not even sure that's possible. Not existing. I mean, what if by principle you exist, and that's kind of how it works. You're already here now. You exist as a human, yes. Who's to say you don't exist regardless? Right? That's why they say about like reincarnation and stuff. It's a concept, it's an idea. Anyways, who's to say? But it is what it is. We're here now. So what I'm saying is like, because I was quoting, I heard somebody say, "You just gotta keep living, man." But it's like, well, the reason I said that is because, when I say it like it is what it is, at what point do you think, whether how extreme it gets, you know what I mean? Like, at what point, because like I'm saying with the duality and the roller coaster, and going up and down even farther, it's probably going faster on the roller coaster too. You're going down even faster, because it's going up even faster, even farther. It's going down even farther, right? So my point is, where's my point? Is the duality of things like, at what point are you going to say, oh, this is too much? Is it going to be in the low or the high too? Are you going to let go? Are you going to say, that's, enough. That's enough of that, right? It's like, it is what it is. So it's like, if you stay on the ride, then it's going to keep going. It's going to go up farther. It's going to go down even farther. So if you've had enough, let go. What does letting go mean? To be. When I say just kind of keep living, you don't gotta do nothing. But like, that concept, that idea, the mindset of just living, just keep doing, just being you. I mean, letting yourself be, letting it all happen, letting it go, let it go, let it go. can't hold back anymore. It's like, what do you really want to do? What do you really want? Especially like nowadays, the way society's set up, for a lot of people, they feel like, oh, I gotta do this, then I gotta do that, then I gotta do that. And there's, what time do they get to do what they want to do? And usually that time is spent, well, I want to do this because I want to feel alright enough to, whatever it is. Like they eat these nice meals when they get home from work, and they're like, yeah, I want to eat this. I mean, that's just one example. Watch a nice show, play a nice game, maybe overindulge into something that is not so healthy for them under the concept, in the belief and thinking, like, hey, this is to make me, not even necessarily telling themselves this, but, feel better about what they've experienced, feel like that's acceptable, be able to accept it. And then because they can't do that without, kind of like a, not that they can't, but they won't even allow themselves to accept it for what it is without, like the upwardness, I guess. So it's like at the point when you're down so low, you gotta ride it through, you gotta ride it out to when you get back up, because otherwise, how will you live with yourself? Type of thing. Not necessarily like how will you live with yourself, but you do gotta like kind of look at yourself in the mirror and think, and not necessarily look at yourself in the mirror, but you can't escape yourself. You're you. You're always with yourself. So when if you were to say that's enough at the bottom of the roller coaster, meaning to say is that you let the momentum carry you down, and that's meaning to say you get caught up. You're thinking that you are, you got to do this. You are this person that feels this type of way. That it really isn't what it is because, oh shoot, let me lock it. That's a funny way to put it. Oh, it really isn't what it is. But it really, you're thinking like, I feel this type of way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta do something about it. It's like, really, you can only do what you can do. So it's like, if you don't prefer something, do what you can to not experience that. And if you do prefer something, do what you can to experience that. That seems to be logic that checks out. But as far as really feeling some type of way about it, like, if you get your hopes up and it doesn't work out, like, you don't need to be disappointed. You don't need to, like, if something bad happens to you, nothing good or bad exists, so nothing bad will happen to you, don't worry. But if something happens to you and you're like, I don't like this, or don't even have to say those things. Maybe that's not how you think about things. Something happens to you and you just start, you're not happy about it. You just start, feeling some type of way about it. You should realize that the thing is just happening. That's not happening to you necessarily, even if it is in a sense like it's like you're there experiencing it, like what, like you have a physical sensation of something. So it's like somebody's touching you, okay, well there, it's happening to you. I mean, they're happening to you in that sense, right? But it's like at the same time though, you're still just you there experiencing you. Like if somebody punches you in the face, okay, that's something that happened to you, right? I mean, you got punched in the face, but at the same time, you're still just the you, and they're still just the them that swung their arm and ended up making physical contact with your face, and the momentum of it kind of maybe did some physical damage and caused some physical pain. But at the end of the day, did anything happen to you? And we play with definitions like this for a reason. But it's like, did it happen to you? Or how do I put it? Because I'm not just trying to be tricky here. I'm not just trying to be like, oh, I have a point. And I think my point is implied here. That's hinted at already. It's like, did it happen to you, or is it just the thing that happened? Because it's like your body, yes. But when I'm saying like, oh, you might exist regardless. You might just exist as a principle of existence. Think about that. So if that was the case, even regardless of that wasn't the case, let's say just theoretically, your body and your brain and every part of you But because you're just as much a part of the universe, because you're made up of all the stuff that is in the universe, you're no separate. You didn't come from outer space. You're born from the universe, right? So you're just as much a part of the universe as the universe is a part of you. So there's really no separation between you and everything else. So at the end of the day, did anything ever happen to you at all? Was there ever even a you experiencing anything? I mean, you're like sitting there, you're like, not necessarily that you are like this right now, but I'm imagining maybe somebody sitting there right now, they're thinking, oh, well, me right here, right now, experiencing this. I can think and feel it right now. Think, therefore, I am this and that, right? But really, it's kind of trippy when you get the idea, the whole on, you like really, you don't gotta buy into it, you don't gotta believe it, but you look in the way that it's like, okay, if this was true, then let me see, because it would be like this, and you start to see, oh, hold on. And then not necessarily like that. That's a reaction you could have, but you start to see like, oh, like oh, in the sense what I'm trying to convey there is like the tonality is important of like understanding like that it really is how it is in a sense. At least it's applicable like this concept is of when I say you're just as much a part of the universe is a part of you. You're no separate from anything else. Is anything ever really happening to you? Because everything is just happening. You see a bunch of ants on the ground, and they're in a colony, and you don't think, maybe you do, maybe you pick out one, and you're like, well, it's that ant, that's the chosen warrior ant. Maybe, that's a funny fable, like story to tell, a concept. I like it. Um, or entertaining. Maybe it's not funny. Maybe this is what it is. Maybe it's not entertaining. Maybe it's just the point is. But it gets to the point that on side tangent. You don't necessarily, most of the time, look at any particular ant and think that ant, or you don't individualize them necessarily. Maybe you do. In general, you see a flock of sheep, you see a bunch of birds, you see a bunch of ants, you see a bunch of electron. Maybe not. You don't really see those with the naked eye, but I'm trying to talk smaller and smaller scales in the sense. You see trees, a bunch of trees. You might think forest. You don't think trees. You think forest. And that's what they talk about, seeing the forest for the trees. You know what I'm saying? Everything is happening. You're a tree in the forest of the humans. A human tree in the forest of the human race. Or you're just one of them. Out of the 8 billion of us now. I think it's 8 billion now. Right? I like these spike factories. It's simple. We just place these down. It's fine. Everything's fine. Um, everything is fine because it is what it is. Fine's nice. And we were talking about scale scopes, like the perspectives, and like everything's just happening. Because what I'm saying, like you're talking about, you see it's like a sheep, a bunch of birds, a bunch of ants. Individualize them. Think of it. A bunch of bees. Maybe you do individualize bees a little more, because you get one up close next to you, and you're like, ah, bee, and you think that bee. You know what I mean? But sometimes we lost. I guess spike factories aren't so snazzy. It's what it is. What it is. It's a background gameplay. Maybe you're enjoying it. Place the ninja down. Oh, we should place a door down. I don't even know if we placed it down last time. Maybe you guys were like, ah, why are you placing it down? Burping. Burping. And burping is what it is. Talking about the point. Uh, everything is happening. You're just a human that's happening. You gotta accept it, dude. Just kidding. You don't gotta do nothing. So anyway, the scale and scope of things, like when people look at a group, unless maybe like anything about our particular one of them stands out to you, like you might just think, oh, that's the people, and over there, yes, people. You know what I mean? You don't think too much about it. You don't individualize them so much. You don't feel some type of way about it so much. And if we can have that perspective about everything that's happening, And with discretion too, because if there's something worth experiencing in your life and you want to experience the full scope of it, go ahead and do that. It's probably meant to be, yeah, or don't. Do what you want to do. It's probably meant to be. Probably. Everything happens for a reason. That's undeniable. Why? I'm not gonna get into it. I'm gonna do it another time. Maybe. Another time, maybe. What do we? Anyway, what do we? Scale and scope. Blah blah. Because everything is just happening. And so I got onto that point by saying you're just a fractal of the infinite. And when you get that idea of like, is anything ever even happening to you? You know what I'm saying? So, because that's a little nifty concept trick, nifty trick to get back in the idea. Not even an idea. Fucking idea, boy. Get back into the feeling. Oh, that is what I saying. But that's just the concept. You know what I'm saying? That's not the words. No monitoring over here. Okay, no mantras. I don't mantra. I don't think. Maybe some temporary mantras. Let me place my free dart mode. I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Can't recall at the moment. I'm not trying to think about it too much. My point is, point is, point is, my point is, my point is, my point is, my point is, you're just existing. Experience your life. You exist. You exist. Yeah. And it's real too, by the way. It's real what's happening. Very real. Um, how you feel about my humble bee, humble bee, humble bee? Be humble as can be. Let's do this again. So we don't have to think about it. Sometimes this game in the background as I talk, but it's like still is something to do. So it's like in the moments in time, but it's like because that's why ADHD people fidget so much because they're just working their mind and they're working it through the way their body works too, and so that's why it can kind of be over. Um, and to some people, sometimes if you're not careful about what you do, you got to be aware of yourself. You don't have to, but it can help to be aware of yourself sometimes, especially as a person who tends to do think as they do, how that may affect other people because it can come across as overbearing to some. Um, when somebody even is like tapping their leg over and over, shaking their leg to think about things. Maybe not to think about things, not think about things sometimes. Clear your mind to keep the attention on that. You listen to that, but it's like what I was saying about just playing in the background, moving it as I think, just going with it. When I'm talking about skills, things, everything's just happening. You just exist. The nifty trick of just figuring that nothing has ever really happened to you. You're just happening. Can you believe it? Can you believe it's some interesting concepts here? But it's nothing to sit down and really intellectualize too much. If you can get what I'm saying, get it. If you can't quite get it, you could rewind. You could not get it, not care, get what you want about it, feel how you want to feel about it. Here's what it is about it. Who knows where you're at, what you're doing. But what I'm doing is what I'm doing right now, boy. I don't give a fuck about shit. Till I do. You know what I'm saying? Then I say I'm gonna do that thing. And, I really frustrated somebody one day by being insistent on that principle. They couldn't quite get it through their skull. That I care about what I want to care about, when I want to care about it, why I want to care about it. I am me. I decide. They're like, well, no, I mean, you want to, you gotta care about, you care or you don't care. Well, what are you talking about? They're just so flabbergasted. Couldn't understand the concept. I'm not trying to break it into your brain over, but it's something to think about maybe if you want. If you want to. He didn't want to think about it, so he said, stop talking about that. And I said, well, don't deny what I said. We're going to leave it how it is and how I meant to say it. Don't misconstrue over here and try and get your final, clarification of how things went when it's not clarification. It's deception. Self-deception. It's a misunderstanding of what I mean, right? It was what I was talking to this guy about. Anyway, when I said do what I do, care what I care about, when I want, whenever, whatever. Because it's like, that people really, they're like, well, then who are you? Who do you think you are? Me, dude, I'm me. Human guy that exists. The fuck? You on about over here? Talking about, thinking about, you gotta do this, that, and the other over here. I don't know who you think you are. You know what I'm saying? Or do you don't? So I think we got some good points in here. Some good points. My point is, that's my point. You know what I'm saying? A little beatboxing action for you. Somebody that can be not afraid to just exist and be themselves and I'm me right now. Can't stop. Right? People feel so obligated to maintain these ideas of who they are. And probably you might feel that way because maybe you weren't so honest all the time. But if we can, it might take a process to get there for some people. But if we could theoretically face every situation full front and full force and handle it where it is, some things might not give us the luxury of being able to be handled so quickly, right? These things, we do what we can when we can, and we don't give it any concern otherwise. There's no point. We just do what we can when we can. We don't give it extra thought otherwise. When I say concern, we don't, that's why I'm trying to be careful with my words, and I think I've been doing pretty good with that, but, we don't, attention, whatever it is, we don't need to give it any extra attention than what is necessary to do our best, right? And so then you are free to give your attention to yourself or to whatever it is you're doing to the full extent, full force, full brunt, full expression of who you are in the moment. Now let's talk about it. All we have is the present moment. It's all in the moment. Something to think about, or don't think about it. Feel it. Be it. But chicken butt. Guess what? Chicken butt. But nothing. But nothing. It is one. So. How do you feel about that? So if you feel some type of way about it, maybe let me know. I'd be curious if you wanted to tell me in the comment section. Or even, boy, pressing the thumb button. The thumb button, either one. But it might help me to know how you might feel about what I'm saying right now. Why am I going through so many variations of the tonality and types of way to say things? I do know. I just thought about it, but it's too much to explain to you right now. Actually, it's not too much. I could explain it, but I'm not going to. I am who I am, do what I do. And so, you know what I will say? I was trying to think about the thing, and so I thought about it, and I was thinking about it. Thought about it. So this is what I'm thinking. So guys, this is what I'm thinking. Blah 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 blah. That's what I was thinking. But I was thinking some other things too, like that. So it's like, don't be afraid to just fucking exist. You're here now. You're here fucking now. Don't fucking be afraid to fucking be you. Like, here fucking now. What the fuck? Why did I say fuck so much? I'm trying to get the point across. Some emphasis. Okay, I don't really got a swearing thing, but I think it did the trick. Don't be afraid. The reason why I'm saying this because, where I was bringing up the point about the guy who got so, he felt, oh goodness gracious, he felt some type of way about what I was saying about, well, I'm just me and I feel how I care or I don't care. That's up to me. I care and I don't care. I don't know how I phrased it exactly, but I think I got the concept across there. What I got across what I meant to him. I got across what I meant to you. You know what I meant to him. Blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what I meant to. My point is, You know, like the concept of your interaction. Hopefully, if you're listening, is that the guy was like, well, I really, he wasn't necessarily thinking this in his head, but he had the deep feeling of like really wanting to get a grip on, grasp on, like I think I am, so he can think who he thinks I am, right? That's, I think that's pretty simple. It's simple enough. And so, um, because I was so adamant in refusing any definitions of who I am, I don't care about this necessarily or that. Just, it is what it is. And I think in a sense too, he thought I was just trying to be quick or clever, be tricky or whatever it is. Um, but I was really, just trying to emphasize the point to him that you exist right now. You can do whatever you want right now. Nothing that is in the past that makes you up into who you are. Yeah, it might have made you up into who you are. You can think about it, feel how you want to feel about it, but then you can do what you want to do after that. Because if you have a pretty good idea as to who you are and what led up to being who you are right now and how you feel about that and how you feel about what you want to do, or maybe just how you feel about existing in general, and you can figure out what you want to do from there because it's like, okay, well, I exist now, I'm hungry, I want to go eat. Oh, I want to eat this food because it's tastier. Oh, because I like this tasty food and I want to be able to afford it, I want to get a better job, so I want to do this. Oh, because I don't like, working too hard, I want to go into this field because this field seems to be a field where I can figure it out, put in the work and then have it figured out, and then I won't have to work too hard for too long, right? And this type of thing. Maybe that's what you want to do. Maybe not. Point. So at any point, you can sit down and be like, okay, that's, reconsider. Okay, I feel this type of way about it. I am who I am. Just do what I want to do. This. Any point, right now, right now. So, like in the moment, like this thing is, not the thing necessarily. What's the thing? Is there a thing or the thing? No, I wasn't trying to get at a thing necessarily. We're making some points. But it's like any point in time, at any point, you're feeling any type of way. You have the ability to stop feeling type of way or just, feel some other type of way about it. Just tell yourself it is a different type of way than it is. Or it is what it is, or whatever you want to tell yourself, but you can feel any type of way about it. You can just, in the moment, reconsider, okay, everything led up to me being here, who I am right now, whatever it is. Some things made me feel some type of way. It is what it is. But I can feel how I want to feel about it. That's what's important. Is that you can, at any point, just be like, well, I feel this type of way about it then. It's like, well, what if maybe it was a good thing? I wanted to see if maybe it was. Even if I didn't feel necessarily like it. Well, we're gonna wait and see because maybe in this way, if you can even just start to think about it, like, well, actually, maybe in this way, it could have been good. Like the story about the guy who fell off the horse, broke his leg. Oh no! He was taking the war, and they're like, oh, we can't take you. You broke your leg. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, that's good then. Yeah. So we don't know. Things are good or bad, but nothing is good or bad. So anyway, you just exist. Don't be afraid to exist. And be yourself, be who you want to be. Do what you want to do, and be free. And love yourself, and love everybody, and love life, of course. Because through loving yourself, you love life. Because you love to be yourself and live the life that you're living, right? That's how it works. I mean, maybe, the life that you're living, some aspects of it, you're not so inclined to love, but in general, the entirety of your life is what you want to love, and not any specific experience. You can get caught up in loving one thing too much or making their whole life about that thing. That's when, people get deluded from what it even means to love yourself or love your life or know yourself. Some good, actually no, some these were good words. is what it is, bro. I want pancakes. I want taiyaki. I want some cinnamon muffins, some pumpkin rolls with cream cheese, frosting type of thing. Or maybe not frosting, like cream cheese inside, not like a filling, but like there, something my freaking cousin made at Thanksgiving. It was so good. Banana pudding, so good. That's what I want. I like sweets, dude. I love them. I started thinking about that. Yeah, my burps. Living life. Yeah, dude. I've been living life. What about you? What about you? I hope you can sit there and be like, woohoo! You know what it means to be alive. We'll go listen to a good song if you want. But, personally, I'm gonna go listen to Lights. I think it's Lights or the Shooting Stars, Shooting Lights. I don't know. It's something by Kanye West. Where it's like a teddy bear shooting out of the planet, and it's like, do you know what it really means? Do you know what it really means? That's not how he says it, actually. He says it like, do you know what it really means? No, that's not what he said. How he said it. I'm not gonna sing the song how he said it, but it's like. Okay, that's not how it goes. You gotta look it up if you wanna, and you gotta find it. But this is what it is. So I just let myself express myself here on this video. Hope my mic was on. We're gonna let this finish out with around 80. Uh, a long video, definitely over an hour. Maybe somebody watched it all the way through. Maybe. Anyways, I'm not going to this, to be honest. I can. I love it. Woo! Let's go. Why am I making noises like this? You might be wondering, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe you're like, yeah, just do your thing. Or maybe there's nobody. Nobody's ever watching. But maybe actually everybody's watching. And if that's the case, guys, why I made those noises? It'll be up to you to decide. I'm just me making noises. And this is something that, okay, I will touch on this. People like kids, they make goofy noise, they repeatedly make the same noise, they might do some annoying things. They're not annoying objectively. Everything is what it is. But they have the tendency to elicit a feeling, a visceral reaction. Maybe not that necessarily, but it could elicit, a temperament change, a sort of fluctuation in the cortisol, whatever you want to say, however you want to say it. You make people feel some type of way when these kids or anybody does something sporadic or does something, that goofy, but out there. And if they're not on board with the energy, is what's important because it's like if it's your kid, or maybe you don't have a kid, you can't imagine, but it's like when it's somebody important to you and they're doing it, you're like, ah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if maybe not everybody can get that sort of concept, especially if you grew up like a single child, an only child, and you don't have any siblings, and you just kind of always got annoyed by people. That's how you feel. But it's like, it is what it is. You don't have to feel any type of way about how they act or behave or conduct themselves or what they say or do, even if it's like in your ear ringing. It's like, yeah, well, I'm not going to continue this or perpetuate this thing inside me that feels some type of way about it. I might let them do it if I can't do anything to stop them, or if I can communicate with them that it's not something that I prefer, and if it is in their best interest to stop, and they do, great, maybe. If that's how I want to feel about it, great. The point is that um, these people are expressing themselves, and how you feel about it is, I guess, in a sense, um, kind of why they're expressing themselves. Not that they know how you're going to feel about it necessarily, but Um, you know, not that you should always let them know how you feel about it, but the only way they're gonna find out how others are, you know, how do I say this? Are likely to feel about them is not the right way to say it. It's like how others, in general, from a wider perspective, expressing themselves in different variations of themselves, different aspects of themselves in different ways, and understanding how like people might respond to that, not just in general, but like specific people and how specific interactions or energies might interact in certain ways. Them understanding that is why they are expressing themselves, or looking to understand that deeper in a different way, or even not if it's not to gain any further understanding, because it's not always, and I'm not saying that is their intention necessarily, but any creative expression, right? You are, in a sense, how do I put it? I'm just trying to be careful with my words here, but you're expressing yourself. If you know what I'm saying. Um, like art, you're expressing yourself in art. Like it's not necessarily to get a specific reaction, and it's not that the reaction matters so much necessarily. Some art is put out there with the sole intention of, this is a message or this is something I want to express. I don't care how people feel about it. And so, that's how some people express themselves too. But then there's other forms of expression where it's like not necessarily tied down to a specific, type of reception. People don't have to feel a certain type of way about it. Maybe sometimes there is a certain hope for that, but maybe sometimes it's just they want to express themselves and see however it is that people feel about it, at all. They want an audience, or they want a pool of people, or maybe a diverse or a specific group of people to gauge, have them interpret and gauge how they feel, get the general and specific, sort of responses, reactions, the way to the expression. I was just saying that before. Just being careful with my words. The ways, the responses, like to energy interaction, all the things that allow them to understand themselves deeper through the response to the expression, right? So hopefully I wasn't too conceptualized here, not talking too. I think I have a decent way, hopefully, of making it, something digestible. That's what I'm trying to say here. So whatever it is I just said, and hopefully you can follow along, even if I did kind of get off on some side tangents, and usually successfully bring it right back into the point and wrap up points. Oh, my headphones dead. But other than also like the social media thing, I didn't get too far into that, and like the global humanity. My main concept was trying to be, and just to wrap up the video here, like I'm about to. Main concept of that, and just to wrap up all my points. Hopefully all the ones I remember. Main concept of that was that we have this, I was saying we have this intelligence, this creativity, this expression, this, aesthetic incline for, and this, towards beauty and towards innovation and all these things, right? And it's like, instead, and the way society's going, instead of like bolstering that and utilizing that for, people to express themselves and be who they are, and, have different avenues for people to be different types of people. It's like we're categorizing everybody. We're making, it to be, oh, we just gotta, work. And I mean, there's a lot of, oh, game over. There's a lot of, reasons that people think, oh, we all gotta work and we gotta do our jobs and we gotta be this person and do these things, right? I think we covered that you can feel however you want to feel and do whatever you want to do, but the point is that like the way society is going in general is all inclined towards, okay, well, if you can be good enough and work hard enough, then you can achieve good enough. even that is diminishing when I was saying like people aren't becoming like successful or famous or popular as often and as much at all. And there was like these moments where it was like a lot more possible, and like the way the societal approach towards that shifted, and now people think that it's possible when it's not, and people didn't think it was possible when it was, in a sense. But that was kind of just a side tangent. To point mainly being is that like in general we all have this, like, not all of us, but it's in general have a idea of like we gotta go for the we, just do me, do the best I can for me, or for my family, for what I care about, for this and that. Obviously, just do what I can to make my way in this world and be as successful as I can and this and that. And maybe people get these grandiose desires or whatever, but the point is that thinking, or like, well, not thinking anything specifically, but the way that society is going in general, and it all being set up like with all the fast food nowadays, with the way, I mean, why would I start with fast food when there's, how women are obviously becoming more promiscuous. This is something. Men are becoming lonelier. Male loneliness epidemic. La la la. The way society is, some people like to say society is degrading. I was saying capitalism's furthering all this stuff. Is, because it's like, oh, well, we want to eat better food. We want to have a better house. We want to have a prettier wife or a prettier boyfriend, whatever, prettier husband. We want to have more money. We want to have all these things. And it's not, I'm not saying, oh, it's look at our mindset. It's so bad. La, la. Like, this is something that's been oversaid, and it's not really what we should be looking at. What we should be thinking about is like, why as a society are we focused on this seemingly? Like, this is the way it's set up, that we're all convinced that this is what we want to do with ourselves, and that's what's important. But think about it, because you can, because you have a brain, because you have an intellect. You don't have to think about it, but I so kindly implore you to maybe consider the implications of thinking, hold on, like, yes, all these things would be nice, okay, but what if I had everything ever and it was so great? Yeah, look at these rich people who are miserable. And I mean, this is common for people to say, oh, well, it's easy for a rich person to be miserable. They already have everything, and then it's just easy for them to, pity themselves because they can't, be themselves or enjoy themselves or whatever these people tell themselves. But, I'm not saying that, oh, it's hard to be rich or anything. I'm not saying that all rich people are miserable. I'm saying that it's possible to be miserable when you're rich because of specific circumstances involving you having everything and feeling like there's no meaning or value or like special, who are you anyway? You're just existing. And when I was saying to not be afraid to just exist, what I mean is not to just sit back and do whatever it is you want to do, indulge type of thing. Like, when I say, yes, you should do whatever it is you want to do. But when I say, like, indulge type of thing, it's like if you have everything at your fingertips like that. Like these people, they end up getting, like, there's no passion, there's no ambition, and it's just because it's like they're dampened down. How do I put it? I had a nice way of putting it not so long ago. They get burned out in a sense by the, satisfaction. They get over satisfied. They get too complacent. All right, you got to stay hungry in a sense. Sometimes, I mean, you don't got to do anything. I'm saying it like, oh, you gotta. Obviously, the freaking what I mean is obvious, but I don't like to say, oh, you got to do anything necessarily. But point is staying hungry has its merit, right? When you're, and I'm talking metaphorically. I mean, yes, fasting, there's something to that too, merit to that. But I'm talking metaphorically, like ambitious, like staying, having a drive, having something you want to accomplish, doing something with your life, thinking, this is what I want to do with my life, because it's like, yeah, we have a life and we're living it. It's not necessarily about going and achieving the most grandiose thing. Maybe that you have some big thing you want to do, but it should be about doing the thing and not about having done it, right? Especially, like, here's another way to put it. You shouldn't I don't want to say you should be this or you should be that, but I'm thinking that it might be more convenient, more, you might be more inclined to, if you can think about it this way, be the type of person to have been so happy to have experienced the thing, rather than the person that's so happy to have been the person to experience the thing, right? So specifically in instances of, being proud or being like, oh, an accomplishment where it's like, I did this thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like you maybe want to like the validation or the recognition or like the self acceptance, and I'm not saying these things are bad, but it's like accepting and realizing what you wanted from it. And it's because it's like not necessarily the thing in and of itself. You wanted to be the person that experienced, or that was able to experience the thing, not, you want to be the person that experiences some things because you want to really experience those things, fully enjoy those things, you're grateful for those things, right? That's why being careful with my words here is important, because it's like there's a difference in being the person, or in wanting to be the person who is able to experience those things, because it's like having the privilege, feeling like the person who has the privilege to experience those things is enticing to you, maybe, right? Or like the validation and this and that, right? So it's like at least being honest with yourself about those things sometimes maybe is a good thing. And anyway, I'm gonna leave it off there. We talked about a lot of things. So anyway, okay, last little wrap up. I just want to like finalize. I was talking about society and like the way things are going, and like what I'm saying, like the creative expression, and we should be more intellectually inclined in a sense. That's one way to put it. I think you know what I mean by that. Not necessarily intellectually, but creatively maybe, and ambitiously, and staying hungry in that sense, and this and that, and expressing ourselves. And that should be the focus of society, is to allow people to express themselves more and in greater congruence with each other, greater symbiosis, what's the word, freaking union, freaking alignment, all this stuff with each other, rather than like seemingly being competing with each other. It's not even necessarily competition nowadays. In a sense, it can be, like in job markets and stuff, but it can, seemingly, it's like, some people say it's a dog-eat-dog world. I don't believe that. Point is that it's like, it can seem like, oh, people are trying to do is go get the best for themselves, and because of that, that's all you can do, and because everybody else is trying to do it, makes it so much harder for you to do it in that sense. Or maybe not. Maybe you're rich and you have everything, you don't have any ambition or drive. My point is that the way that society is going in general, it's like most people are like, okay, well, I'm just gonna like do what I can, like get what I can for myself, and that's not a great way to be conducting yourself in general. I'm not like offering solutions. I'm not saying that this like in a sense, I guess I'm not offering solutions, but I'm offering another way of being, if you could be able to, which is just to express yourself and just to feel how you want to feel about things. But it is what it is, and you can only do what you can, and that's your best to do what you want to do. And just accepting that, and putting your attention where you want to put it, because you can only do the best of what you can when the situation is in front of you, and there's no necessarily point in overthinking about it. But you can think, enough is to figure out what you want to about it. And this, I'm not trying to get too specific, but my point is that these people think that, like I was saying, like, just trying to get the best they can for themselves, and being like disconnected in the sense of just like isolation, of just like self-isolation, of just trying to get out for themselves, even if it involves other people. It's a selfish way of interacting with them, even if they disguise it or whatever, if they hide it, even if they lie. It's like it's never truly, authentically a genuine, truly wholesome experience in their life, because they're not allowing that for themselves by being fake in general. Being fake, not just towards other people, but to themselves, by not, convincing themselves things are, that they don't actually feel this type of way. They want this thing because they want the thing, not because they want to feel good about having the thing, right? That type of thing. And so I'm saying that in general, it'd be better if we could all think the one way instead of the other way. I think you know my point. But, I'm not offering solutions in the sense of saying, oh, well, this is, we should all just do this. Like, it's just the way we should do it. And there we go, guys. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, it's kind of like the way society is set up. There's a reason for the way things being the way they are, right? And so I'm just saying, like, society, the way it's set up, is not conducive to our evolution as a species, or any future for the human race. If we're gonna figure out this existence thing, we should probably do it pretty soon, because it's not looking like we got too long here to really do it. I'm not just talking about necessarily like resources running out. I said I was gonna wrap it up so many times. Whatever, about to. Resources running out, natural resources, or like the potential for a mass extinction, or this or that, or whatever, like society degrading, as people might say. Some people. I'm not saying that it is. It's just society, and times are changing. That's how it's gonna be, because times change. But I'm saying is that the way we figure out what's going on in reality, because it isn't a weird thing. We exist. You ever are able to sit back or stand back, or whatever it is, look, and not necessarily back, but just have a perspective of, a certain, awe and curiosity for what it even means to be alive and exist. You're like, huh, you know what I do? I exist. I'm me. Huh? That's something. That's really something. Or whatever it is, however you want to feel about it. It's like, if you can actually, genuinely feel that way, of like, oh, wow, I exist. It's like kind of alleviates a lot of the, and it's not like to aim to feel that way to alleviate anything, but it's just how it goes with that, because it's like naturally what it takes to get to that mindset too is what it takes to alleviate these things. When I'm saying alleviate, of like the mindset of always, out to get for myself, and I got to do this, and I'm this person, or I feel this type of way, and this and that, right? It helps you to think it is what it is, but not think those words. Obviously, feel that way, be that way. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. I said I was gonna wrap it up. We're really wrapping it up now. So my point is, no solutions, but yes, society's kind of made in this way where it's like people are being all this type of way, and yeah. And yeah. So, if we could all express ourselves and figure out my point was like, existence, and that's crazy, and we could figure that out maybe. A crazy idea, guys, maybe. Because, you ever like read a really good book, or I don't know if you read books, hear a really good song, like, in the way they're singing, the way they deliver the chords, the tunes, like you can hear it from them, their soul, their emotions, like something like, it's not, some people like to use words like spark something within you, or like some, or I'm not, this is cliche a little bit, I'm not trying to be like that. I'm trying to say, like, what it does is I like to be specific and careful with my words. Like they inspire you, obviously, but it's like, really feel like, okay, well, that's somebody who exists too, and they are, wow, like, look at that, like, somebody can really give you that sort of feeling, in any type of way, not necessarily that you gotta like hear the song and think. Why I brought up a book is like, because with a really good story, if somebody can really get you hooked and really be like, wow, like, a really, like, this character, like, they feel so real to me, this character, and la la la, because it's like, most often the authors are going to portray, I don't know if it's even possible for them not to portray, they're going to portray aspects of themselves through the character, or aspects of certain personalities and blah, blah, blah. And so it's easy to become, or not necessarily easy, it's hard for the writer, I think, to actually write it in such a way where you want to be enticed to like feel some type of way about the characters, especially when you think about, you know, what it might mean to write a story. And, you know, thinking about like all the things that go into like trying to make a build up, and you know, it doesn't have to be set up with like a conclusion and a climax and this and that, but you know, that's a classic way to set up a story is with the prologue and the build up and the climax and blah, 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 blah. I don't know all the details, but it's like really you can do whatever you want. But it's like when you think about like writing a story and just trying, if you think about like the concept of trying to get somebody interested in what you're saying and how the characters are feeling, like think about writing a story before you have any idea of like what you're going to write about. All you know is you want to get somebody to feel and care about what's going to happen to that character. Like they might be in danger at some point, and you want them to really feel like something might happen. Like, yeah, they might not die because they're the main character, classic situation of plot armor, right? But it's like they might genuinely lose something because there are stakes to this story, and it's going to mean something if they lose something. And you're going to, you know, you should feel something, not that you're saying this, but you're kind of trying to convince them as the author, you should feel some type of way about this thing that's happening because it means something to the story, it means something to the character, and it means this type of thing in this type of way, and it means this deeply to them. And, you know, if there's enough build up to who that character is, and you know, you're on board with what they're doing, and this, you know what I mean? At a point, it's like, wow, like you're vicariously living through the character. And so, I think that, like with pop star, with certain idols, with certain like the rappers back in the day, I mean, we're having less and less and less popular, you know, celebrities and all this, as I was saying. But it's like, especially certain rappers living a certain lifestyle that's like, you know, idealistic. It's like we can live vicariously through the people who are fully expressing themselves. I was watching Jaden Animation's video. She was talking about how much she likes Hatsune Miku. I was thinking, you love yourself. You don't love Hatsune Miku. I mean, you might love Hatsune Miku, yeah. I'm not saying you don't. Sorry. What I mean to say is that you love yourself, and that you loving Hatsune Miku, or Jaden loving Hatsune Miku, whatever, if you like it, or whatever you like, whatever music you like, that's you loving yourself, because you're allowing yourself to have that joy. You know, if there's something that brings you like a true joy, or a peace of mind, or anything, you know what I'm saying, right? It's like you're loving yourself, because you're loving your life, and you're loving la la la. But my point is like, when you're vicariously living through these idols, I said I was going to wrap it up so many times, I don't care, I'm just talking however long I want to, but I might wrap it up very soon. Vicariously living through these idols to love themselves, because it's like people, what I'm saying about getting like caught up in things and thinking that they're like this, or they gotta feel this type of way or whatever, but when it comes down to it, and they have this like, some people like to say it's from your soul, soul itch or something, but like when it comes down to like how they really feel at the end of the day, like I was saying, like the kid being able to how did I put it, like, yeah, the kid being able to just cry and just like forget about it, basically not affect him in that way, or too deeply, or you know, anymore. So anyway, shoot, I'm getting tired, so now I'm forgetting what I'm saying. Now I just had a bunch of different random thoughts too, so it's like didn't help to keep on track with what I was trying to say there. Okay, because it's like, yeah, the kid's gonna cry and he's gonna forget about it and get over it, as long as it didn't mean anything deeply to him. It's just something that happened and it didn't work out or whatever, and it's like he gets over it. So my point is, it's like if you start feeling some type of way, you're this type of person, you gotta feel this type of way or do this type of thing. And it gets to the point where like eventually you're sitting with yourself, or they're sitting with themselves, or whoever. And through these idols, through these people who truly fully express themselves, they feel like, oh yeah, I want to feel that, or I feel that way too, or whatever. And so they allow themselves, even if in just fantasy, in their mind, and that's important too. They allow themselves to, like, how to put it, like, well, like I said, vicarious, they live through those people. But in the sense of, like, feeling like they are too. Or feeling like they have permission to feel like that or be like that or this and that. And so, I think my point has been made. Is like, like I was saying with the rappers and the idealistic lifestyle. And back to the point of chop wood, eat, sleep, poop. Because it's like, rather than get caught up in the societal game, wouldn't it be nice if you could just go and do literally whatever you wanted? Like, these rappers who, they do whatever they want, and then they express themselves so boldly about it and with so much style, with swagger, with, like a cool, that could be cool to you, a style swagger to you, I don't know. I'm just saying those things as like a adjective, nice little, emphasis as to what I mean. For these people to look at them, live vicariously through them, and, it helps. It's catharsis. Yeah. Therapeutic. So anyway, hope this video was good for you. Goodbye.